We can only speculate.
Exactly. We can only speculate. I'll tell you one thing in my heart. I feel that they're going to be training these individuals.
Friends, I'm very concerned about food shortages coming to America. No, not local or short-lived shortages. I'm talking about national food shortages that will affect everyone, everywhere, for a very long time. Would you be ready if that happened? Probably not. That's why I urge you to get some long-term storage emergency food from my friends at My Patriot Supply. They're the original Patriot survival company over the past decade. They've served millions of American families just like yours. Their mission is your survival, and right now you can save 25% on a 4-week kit of emergency food that will save the day probably soon. This 4-week kit has a wide variety of delicious food that provides over 2,000 calories per day, the right amount for optimum survival. Go to preparewithnatly.com so you can claim your 4-week emergency food kit and save 25% in the process. Order a tasty starter kit for each member of your family, and they'll ship everything quickly and discreetly to your door. That's preparewithnatly.com. Muchachos y muchachas, once again, I am doing my videos just a little bit differently for the next couple days because I am under the weather and homegirl does not feel her best. And when I don't feel my best, I feel like I don't look my best. And so anyway, with that being said, just for a couple of these videos, I will be doing it like this because I still want to talk about these topics. And I found this very interesting, very interesting. As you guys know, in my past 2 vlogs, I have showcased that I have been to the border myself. I've seen the activity. We've heard the families speak their stories. I mean, it's an absolute influx. It's an absolute crisis. And, I was able to experience that. So seeing that and also seeing the patrol work of the CBP, everything of that matter, this headline definitely caught my eye here. Biden administration is moving $860 million from the 𝐶𝐞𝐞 funds to cover the cost of housing children in migrant shelters after crossing the border. So right off the bat, I already have concerns. You want to know why? I'll tell you why. Because there's no transparency. There hasn't been transparency. As a matter of fact, in Texas, Abbott actually closed, I believe, a migrant center in San Antonio, I believe. And the reasonings being solely based on a lot of mistreatment of the children, sexual abuse claims. I mean, just a lot going on. So there's a lot. That's to say that there's not a lot that we don't know. And then you also have viral videos of children being shipped to different locations. They're being chartered on flights. You guys are gonna hear from Anthony Aguero from Border Network News in just a second to give his opinion on this whole matter because he sees this every day. But this is very concerning because if we don't have transparency now as to what is going on with these children, who's to say that this $1 billion is really going towards the housing of these children? And if these are just children and not feeding grown people for another purpose. Excuse my sniffles. The Biden administration is moving close to $1 billion, that's $860 million, in 𝐶𝐞𝐞 funds to cover pandemic-related expenses of housing children who have crossed the U.S.-Mexico border. The Health and Human Services Secretary 𝐓𝐫𝐵𝐻 Becerra notified members of Congress that HHS designed funds that would be moved from the National Institutes of Health to the Unaccompanied Children Program. In Becerra's letter to the lawmakers, he said that the money would ensure the safety of the unaccompanied minors who have shown up at the border and the staff attending to them at shelters. Biden administration official told Bloomberg that because HHS had to take precautions during the 𝐂𝐫𝐻 planned apocalypse, the cost of the housing migrant children has gone up at least $1.7 billion. You think? I mean, again, we haven't had any sort of transparency, that was allowed earlier this year. If you guys remember, there was some leaks of inside the detention centers, but they have, I guess, ceased that sort of photojournalistic activity. So we don't have any sort of transparency. Now, I will say that there have been different, I'll just say close to the industry people. Who have been in my inbox and have dropped clues. Now, of course, I will never reveal their identity, and I will definitely keep them at anonymity because of the things that they tell me. But the things that they tell me about these detention centers is that, it's horrific. These children are always trying to run away. They're always trying to, commit suicide. Like, it's really bad. And there's even some high concerns of traffickers even being in the detention centers themselves. As you guys know, and I reported this a couple weeks back, the Biden administration, they completely ceased the requisition for any caretaker to go through an FBI check. So we don't have full disclosure, full transparency as to what is already going on. Now, to piggyback off of this $1 billion being moved from COVID funds or COCO funds to housing expenses, it sounds fishy. It sounds all fishy. So with that being said, I'm going to bring on Anthony Aguero. He's going to give you his opinion as he sees this stuff pretty close hand. Okay, so Anthony's on the line. So Anthony, you spend a lot of time at the border. You're seeing this stuff like firsthand. You see it pretty much every day. They just revealed that close to $1 billion is being moved to house migrant children. So the concern that I have is that it's not transparent. We don't see where they're going. We see them going with some undisclosed charities. You covered some charter flights, going to undisclosed locations. We don't even know. What are your thoughts on, first of all, the Biden administration moving close to $1 billion of their COVID funding?
I mean, they're going to continue to do it. There's zero oversight on these people, and I'm surprised it's not revealed that it's more than that. At the large capacity of people that we're bringing in, I'm surprised that it's at that number right now.
Okay, and you also mentioned something about the Border Patrol, the CBP. They're getting their funding cut, and I don't think that this is a coincidence.
Right, so the House Democrats just denied extra money for Border Patrol agents and CBP, especially amongst this historic border surge. I think it's ridiculous. One thing that I'm going to tell you, something that I've witnessed in El Paso these last couple of days, I was able to I kind of caught a bus driver off guard, and he revealed to me that these grown males that were being flown into El Paso would be getting dropped off at our military installation known as Fort Bliss, which is one of the biggest ones in the country.
Whoa. So without saying it, why would they be going to Fort Bliss, grown males? We can only speculate.
Exactly. We can only speculate. I'll tell you one thing. In my heart, I feel that they're going to be training these individuals.
So that was an interesting detail. And we have seen that ourselves. You know, there have been these weird flights. At least it's been reported by the local news in Tennessee, where in the dead middle of night, we want to say like 3 o'clock in the morning, you see children being transferred from flight to flight, being shipped across the United States. And there still has not been any transparency, again, as to where they are going and who's taking care of these kids. So with one leak that Anthony just mentioned, that is very, it takes us back a little bit. It's very astonishing to hear that grown males allegedly are being shipped to military bases. Now, why would that happen? So anyway, guys, this is it is fishy. I mean, that's the what it boils down to. This is completely fishy. Again, $1 billion to house children. It doesn't make sense. I mean, really what we've seen is the transportation and, these charter flights going into mysterious locations, coming from different countries. It's wild. So anyway, guys, thanks so much for tuning into this video. I will catch you in the next one. Muchachos y muchachas, I hope you enjoyed that video. There are a lot more videos like that and more on my new platform, NatlyDenise.tv, where you can also catch some of my old documentaries that you guys loved so much last year. That plus more. I just launched a new membership, Natly Denise Exclusives, in which we'll host new content, very exclusive content, some of which is based and unpopular with the mainstream, so therefore it has to be hosted there. Please consider signing up at NatlyDenise.tv. Also, please remember that I have a merch store, NatlyDeniseGear.com, which is also linked in my description below, in which a portion of every single sale will go towards human trafficking rescue and aftercare. Thank you guys so much for your support. See you later.
Goodbye.